Now we're going to talk about the work side. So Elizabeth Falcon, who's the executive director of DC Jobs with Justice, is going to come up and make her pitch. DC Jobs with Justice is an advocacy organization that does strategic campaigns to lift worker power.
So my big idea is that a job is somewhere that you work a regular number of hours at a predictable time for a predictable amount of money. I know, it's crazy. But I'm guessing for most of us in the room, it's pretty normal. And I know there's like the gig economy and, our friends who are paying off their car note driving for Uber sometime, or that person who's like a yoga teacher and designs websites and will walk your dog or whatever. So, but then there's jobs like working at Macy's. So why is it that Kim, who's been working at Macy's for 10 years, doesn't know how many hours she's going to work week to week, and therefore doesn't know how much money she's going to make week to week? It might not feel like that big a deal, but even working full time, if she moves from working 38 hours to working 32 hours, that's $70 less a week if she's at minimum wage, and that's over $3,500 in a year if she's working minimum wage. And this is true for retail workers across the country. That's the folks at Home Depot, at Dunkin' Donuts, at Harris Teeter. And these are jobs, and they're jobs in DC's fastest growing industries. So we wanted to understand it better, and we went and talked to workers. We talked to 400 workers in DC, and 4 out of 5 of them said it was very important or somewhat important that they receive more hours in their current job. And more than half of them said that they learn about their schedule less than a week in advance. The other thing that we learned is that they have really serious obligations to their employers. If they are not available to work every shift, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to be eligible to work full time. So that means if, for example, you have custody every Saturday and you tell your employer that might knock you off the opportunity from becoming a full-time employee. So that brings me to my second big idea, which is that the government has a role in defining what work looks like. And we also are pretty used to that. We have FMLA, we have the minimum wage, and we have these laws because we can't count on the generosity and self-interest of corporations to provide decent jobs for all workers. And so that's what Jobs with Justice is working on. We are a labor and community coalition working to build worker power, and we're pushing for legislation that would require employers to offer access to full-time work for restaurant and retail workers and advance notice of scheduling. We're focused on the big corporations, the companies that are making a lot of money that are not community-based businesses in DC that have more than 40 locations. And we think that government can make retail work like a job again. Because our big idea is that people should have dignity and stability in their work, and if corporations won't provide it, it's the responsibility in a democracy for us to require them to.